Hi there, my name is Bill Schmalfeld. On January 4th, I'll be 56 years old, and on January 31st, I will have been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease for 11 years. There's 1.5 million of us in America with Parkinson's disease. 50,000 to 60,000 new diagnoses are reported each year. The problem is, for most folks, we're invisible. You see, most people think that Parkinson's disease is just a disease of the elderly. It's something that just the old folks get. And although the average diagnosis age for Parkinson's is after 50, out of those 50 to 60,000 new cases in America every year, those folks are getting younger and younger. I've lived an active life. I was once on The Price is Right back in 1983. I did my fair share of little theater acting. This is a scene from The 7-Year Itch. Here I am as King Sextimus the Silent in Once Upon a Mattress. I'm the second banana here, right next to the short guy in Sugar Babies. I've had a full and rich professional life. I've been a newspaper editor. I've been a radio host, talk show host, program director, news director, about everything you can do in radio. And in between radio or newspaper gigs, I drove a truck for a living. I would say that as far as a typical fat guy, I had a pretty active life. Then in late 1999, I began to notice that things were beginning to change, that my right hand would just drop things from time to time. I would find it difficult to think of a word to say. So after spending a night in a hospital and having the hospital neurologist say that he thought it was Parkinson's disease, I had to go through the HMO circus. And, of course, at the HMO, they thought it was everything but Parkinson's. I mean, real doctors with real diplomas on their walls said it couldn't possibly be Parkinson's because I was too young. I was 45 at the time. I finally got one doctor to give me a referral to the National Parkinson's Foundation Clinic in Miami, where I was on January 31st, 2000. Diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Now, for the first several years, having Parkinson's was just more or less a concept. It's like, okay, I'm fat, I'm bald, I have hazel eyes, and I also have Parkinson's disease. In 2005, I went to work for the federal government at the National Institutes of Health, and part of my job was writing about clinical trials. Again, I went along just fat, dumb, and happy, not particularly impaired by the disease. I enjoyed spending time with my wife and our two doggies. And I began to feel a little odd about having this perfectly good disease, about writing about the importance of clinical research every week, and then not taking part in clinical research myself. So I did some looking around, and I found a suitable clinical trial at Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville, Tennessee. Turns out they were doing a study on the effects of deep brain stimulation in early Parkinson's disease. That involved putting electrodes deep into a person's brain, basically short-circuiting the area of the brain that's misfiring and causes the symptoms. Not only do you get the electrodes in the brain, but you get those two little cigarette lighters under your collarbone there. At Vanderbilt, they do it differently. They instead of putting this big superstructure on your head, they personally craft this small polyurethane device for you. After a lot of screening and taking tests and answering questions, I was accepted into the program, one of 30 in the program, and I was one of 15 people to be randomized to the surgical group. In early June, I had the surgery to put the bone markers in so they could attach that platform I just showed you. I looked like I had been bitten in the head by a big cat. And then on June 13th, 2007, this is not my actual x-ray, by the way, but I had the insertion of the electrodes. Now, this is me in the OR, and my neurosurgeon, Dr. Peter Conrad, took that photo. And this is how things looked on the other side of the screen. I was quite the pretty boy afterwards. It looked like I had survived a shark attack, but it didn't affect my spirit. I was still all smiley. Even a couple days later, when the fluids that had collected under my scalp during the surgery began to migrate down my face, and I looked like I had done 5 rounds with Mike Tyson. I was proud to be part of such a good group of folks at Vanderbilt. Dr. Charles, the neurologist, is standing there to my left. A couple of the patients there, Chandler and Odessa, who controlled the study. And for a couple of years after the surgery, things went along pretty nicely. And I wrote a blog about it. I started a daily blog that I call Parky Bill's Parkinson's Place, that you can find at the address there on the screen. I wrote about the funny things that happened in my life, the things that made me mad, like when people sit in the handicap seats on the metro train and buses and elsewhere. But again, I went to work every day, and just slowly but surely, things started to get worse. First, I had difficulty walking. I fell for the first time in November of 2008. My gait got worse. I began having hallucinations. And now I'm at the point where I'm starting to suffer from cognitive difficulties. And that is part of the disease. It affects my judgment from time to time and affects my memory. So that's pretty much where we are today. And I've taken the best of these blog entries and I've decided to write a book about my experience. I did this for a couple reasons. One, so there would be a permanent record of my decade with Parkinson's disease. And I wanted to use the money raised from the book to benefit the National Parkinson Foundation and the Charles DBS Research Fund at Vanderbilt. You see, they're trying to expand the clinical trial from 30 patients to hundreds nationwide. I did my best to get the word out. I sent out press releases. I did internet radio interviews. I did actual interviews on actual radio stations. But the sales of the book have been, well, not that great. So now I'm releasing the book in paperback form. It's cheaper. It's only $15. And it's still full of the same happy stuff you'll find in my blog every day. It's the same angry stuff, the same stuff that makes me mad. What really makes me mad is people who think Parkinson's disease is still a disease of folks who are just sitting around waiting to die. That it's a disease of hopeless old folks who have no lives. We don't have a nationwide Parkinson's awareness campaign. We don't have a Susan Komen Race for the Cure. We don't have a pink ribbon. We do have a Parkinson's tulip. That is our symbol. In addition to raising money for Parkinson's disease from my book, I also sell a line of products on my website. And you can, again, see the website address there. And if you don't trust me with your money, you think that I'm just going to rob you blind and stick it all in my pocket, you can go to these buttons on my website front page and donate directly to the National Parkinson's Foundation and or the Charles DBS Research Fund. The money goes right to them. I don't see a nickel of it. So thank you for listening to my story. I hope that you'll go to the website, take a look at the samples of the book. If you like what you see, buy it. And remember, you're helping fund the cure for Parkinson's disease. It might be too late for me. When I was diagnosed 10 years ago, they said there'd be a cure 10 years tops, and well, look where we are now. I wonder where we'll be 10 years from now. Thanks for your time.